You know, Joachim, I don't see why you are so mad at them. Your warnings from across the ages said to return to their traditional ways, and so they did. For good reason too, because like me, their salvation from these catastrophes did not lie with you then. With me, your steadfast way of turning your back on me when I thought I could rely on you for various scenarios, it eventually became clear what you were trying to say. That my salvation was not to be found in relying upon you at the time. So I see the same repetitive behavior in the aftermath with the humans on Earth, and though they did not realize the full reasons, they too did what you said and returned to their traditional ways of gods and seeking a higher power from the mysteries around them, hoping to hit the jackpot and find a higher purpose and meaning for their people. So why so serious? They only did as you commanded, or was that really you and not some imposter? I wonder something. Give me a thrill of the moment, let's say, to test a theory. You changed me into a serpent in the garden to guard the tree from Adam and Eve. Can you turn me into a woman and lead me through this corrupted path that seems to eject everyone from the heavenly heights? I just want to test a theory, because I have this feeling that we're all living in a disillusioned woman's utopia. I've noticed this trend through history, seemingly avoiding attention.
You had plenty money, 1922. You let all the women make a fool of you. Why don't you do right like some other men?
I always knew I'd get it in Toontown.
Sit here lonely like a broken man.
She really is a genius.
Yes, I can.
Get her.
And I don't want to wind up being parted, broken hearted. So if you really love me,
Who the hell else would I drink to?
See, sometimes a song just ain't enough to let a motherfucker know who the fuck you are.
Tell a motherfucker who the fuck you are.
Sometimes you gotta take that shit back to the street, bring it to a motherfucker's back door. Right? We ain't afraid of you motherfuckers.
Ain't nobody afraid.
We riders.
Ride on the motherfucker.
Come on, Cell Block.
Cell Block, bitch, don't get shift. Cause my name has evolved over time from where I live. Spend 80% of my life in the lid. Now I'm back on the grid with mad commissary kids. Give a fuck what others they smoke, kush, they pushing mids. The riders don't change shit. We making hits, Mr. Cell Block. Mr. Dead Eye like Kobe. Riders, the gang, and all you motherfuckers know me.
Lil Shane. take you out of the game. You lose, I be the killer, always up to bat. One swing from the Louis.
Well, after recent endeavors and exhausting all other options, I see no other choice than to handle this straight up front and in their face. So take seat, heat up some hot cocoa and dig in, because good old Grandpa Back Langstonshire Devil is about to go over the rails into undiscovered territory with his Midsummer Batman special that involves very real corruption. Very real city officials, all in the back pocket of very real dirty corporate executives that I wouldn't be surprised if the trail leads back to a very real Donald Trump. Now I'm gonna cut the bullshit here. You all know what I look like and where I live. Well, let's take ride on the corporate corrupt property scandal of the San Francisco City Council. We begin in 2016, before the pandemic began. The City Council supervisors hold a closed-doors meeting with various business owners and property owners, with a special guest, none other than Donald Trump, advising on inner city metropolitan real estate issues. The topic is a proposal for a massive city-wide district rezoning project. Their proposed goal is to readjust the city district boundaries of the downtown area in order to upgrade the downtown districts and renovate the city. The real reason is to embezzle the massive amount of funds allocated for such things. The Trump card being played is Donald for warning of an approaching event that will not only rock the city and destabilize the economic system of every business owner's operation, but cause a chain reaction of inflation that will unhinge the very value of the current monetary value, itself making money useless and having to erect a new system of monetary use, most likely cryptocurrency. The city puts this whole proposal on the back burner until more evidence is presented, but after the climate change reports and the slowly rising severe weather changes occurring around the globe, the council reconvenes on the issue in a last-minute closed-door meeting after the convenient death of San Francisco's Mayor Ed Lee from a fatal heart attack, who directly opposed the rezoning project. Not only was it not economically viable to the city and would need to rely heavily on major business funds, it was also very unethical, considering what would be needed to be done to the low-income and homeless population in order to rezone a new district that would be designated the low-income district, that would have its own mandatory curfew and district travel passes. Violators after certain hours would be fined or imprisoned. Now we are in 2019. Just before the pandemic begins. The new mayor, London Breed, not knowing perhaps of the chain of events that had been prepared for all this, goes all in with the rezoning project. They only needed to make minor adjustments, considering all their other crucial adjustments had already been made long before Ed Lee died. Adjustments to the laws pertaining to the arrest or detainment of public drug use, the classification of law pertaining to crystal methamphetamine being dropped from a felony to a third-degree misdemeanor. In fact, it's not even a ticketable offense unless they possess over an ounce of it. The police are instructed not to approach, detain or arrest any homeless individuals using in public. The main downtown city street is restricted to taxi and bus traffic only. No cars are allowed on the main city street, causing massive inconvenience to anyone working downtown and more. As the people begin to complain about drug users in their streets, on the corners and in front of businesses, the police are ordered to simply begin corralling them in masses and pushing them through prepared district areas as the pandemic hits and everyone goes on lockdown, leaving very few to witness what really happened to those people. Tent cities are opened in certain areas, offering testing and food. The massive number of homeless that are bound to increase following soon after. They're ticketed for having camps in unauthorized zones. Their equipment is vandalized and shredded by hired third-party workers. They're randomly woken up and drawn away from their camps in arguments only to have their stuff vandalized right in front of them and then told to camp only in designated areas that are quickly infested with contagious COVID victims. Certain hotels around the city are designated as COVID shelter housing, chosen to eliminate the business owners within the regions of the district's rezoning plans, or as the movie Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy put it, your home is one of many that have been selected to be demolished for an rezoned district bypass to be built. We have to have bypasses. If you have a complaint, you could have filed it with your local planning commission eons ago before the pandemic. Ah ha ha, that's good British humour right there. Almost as good as there if you have a problem just smile and tell them to kiss our cousin's ass, and that'll get things solved. Now why am I getting myself involved in this whole ordeal? Well, simple, my building is one of those they want to turn into a bypass, but the owner refused to sell to Dolby, who offered to buy out our entire block before the pandemic happened. But they weren't discouraged. They gone out and hired a couple of professional hotel crashers notorious for pitting hotels like ours into class action lawsuits in order to force the property owner's hand to abandon the property. Now these individuals have been in here since the pandemic began. One plays the victim, the other plays the villain, running up and down the hallways, screaming bloody murder to instigate a fight. Those who play hero, he waits and comes back later with lead pipes in hand. When they step out, he blindsides them, and the police do nothing. In the 2 years he has been here, he has been arrested for taking hostages of elderly women, multiple assaults, property damage, vandalism. Almost 50 charges altogether have been pressed and not a single conviction. Every time he is released, and within 24 hours he will return breaking into the building and back at the same thing, and this is how they leave the property owner liable for a class action lawsuit so the city can foreclose the property and build their bypass. I've called police captains, sat in internal affairs meetings and looked up the butt crack of London Brie herself, great thighs by the way, to try and find the source of this dirt stain, and this is what I scratch and sniffed. Enough to file my own damn case file on the whole ordeal. But my reach stops at the watch. Hold on, I gotta get London Brie out of my head before I can finish. Ahem, okay, so, how does this connect to Trump? About as much as I do to the January 6th riots, none except preliminary but no legal repercussion of criminal charges that can be stuck. Post-advisory without premeditated knowledge of intent or association. Our sheets literally seem to be as clean as Hillary's sheets were in Benghazi. So thus ends my surreal fairy tale for today, and maybe you leave here a little more grateful that my videos are usually supernatural in content, cause you can't handle the truth. Good night and God bless the 42nd Street, Midget Lollipop Guild Dogs on 7 Mile in Detroit. Juggalos, yeah, cause we're everywhere, even up in
Gathered here today to listen to the musical stylist.
Why do I call myself a juggalo? Cause we be banging the wicked shit and swimming off in the blood of mosh pits. We misfits and misunderstood. Got chapters of family off in each and every hood.
I'm a juggalo and you can eat a dick if you're not. And if you stay long enough, you get your eyeballs popped. I'm even worse now since the first curse. I'll cut words into my leg until it hurts.
Why do I call myself a juggalo, bitch? Cause we keep that scrub life and fuck that rich shit and steal that new whip and platinum chain and give it all to a juggalo who's never had a thing.
I'm a juggalo in the worst way since the first grade. I've been plotting my revenge on the world. Hey, I can't help it if I'm into weird shit, looking in the mirror with my eyes closed, eating lipstick.
Why do I call myself a juggalo, sucker? We don't give a motherfuck what you got.
Motherfucker.
We don't brown nose or hound dog, no weak hoes. We stand at the bus stop in yesterday's clothes.
I'm a chainsaw smoker with a thirst for blood. And since we're on the subject, can you give me some? When I was 19, I tried to cut off my tongue and mail it to the devil so he'd know my voice when I come.
Why do I call myself a juggalo, you hater? We don't flip sides over a bitch like Darth Vader. Keep it
East side.
live for the moment and die later. And we
Say hi.
till they unplug the respirator.
A-U-double-G-A-L
shopping sprees at the mall for affection. Barely got money for petrol. Bitch, you must have forgot you fucking with a juggalo.
You never know until the lights go out. It might go south, and you might get the barrel in your mouth.
You lame hoes know when the chain smoker and the fat soul come together, lunch collapsing second hand smoke.
J-U-double-G-A-L-O.
We ain't got a raw deal.
But I'ma be a
J-U-double-G-A-L-O.
Killing everybody.
I call myself a juggalo cause my face painted. Y'all go ahead and kill the scene and we'll come back and recreate it. Half a million motherfuckers looking just like us with contacts and bare face, all ready to bust. This ain't no civil war.
We ain't civilized no more.
We cutthroats like fuck it and smiling at you in court, bitch. Independent, we gon' stand on our own and prove to the whole world why we heir to the throne.
I keep a low profile, bumping low profile. Teeth like a crocodile, I bite that ass like a crocodile. Fucking around on the underground while the rest spot down and dig hound to make the countdown. Most find around the sound of the make. Those who relate would rather die than hear it all change. Sounds strange for sure, but everywhere that I go, I let them know that I'm a motherfucking juggalo. J-U-double-G-A-L-O. J-U-double-G-A-L-O.
I'ma be a
J-U-double-G-A-L-O.
But I'ma be a
J-U-double-G-A-L-O.
Not even
No pieces of my heart. Ripped it up out of my chest and tossed it up amongst
killing everybody.